Great. So we are here right now. I'm with Danko, with Daniel, with Jakub, and with Matosh. And they are on, they've been here the last couple months, and you've seen them before in some of their interviews. And so what I want to do is now, you're literally flying out to the airport today in a few hours.
20 minutes.
In 20 minutes, and then Daniel and Matosh are flying out tonight.
In a few hours.
In a few hours. So we wanted to do this wrap-up video about your experience now that you've been here a few months. So let me go ahead and just start here. What would you say for all three of you, just real quickly, was the best part of your experience from the last couple months here?
That's a tough question. I don't think I have like one specific answer, but I would say the spirit here of this town. There's still some leftovers of the great, 60s, 50s, 70s. There's great people. There's an insane amount of great culture here, and I think it really counted for. I'm speaking for myself, for my personal development and changing a lot of perspective, which you can take and apply in your work life as well.
And as you mentioned, there's a leftover from 60s. In some ways there's still leftover from 60s, but in some ways we just started to cooking the big pot of the best soup you can get, and now I'm referring more to startups, technology, and just entrepreneurialism in general. So for me it was like super interesting to go outside to the pub, to the party, to meet up, to run away, and all the time you're meeting like super clever people who work from Tesla, Slack, new startup, it will be unicorn in a couple of years. So for me, the concentration of clever people, like know-how, on one hand, on the other hand, how the people are nice, easy to approach, outgoing. So you have still this kind of like open-minded thinking, but you have like also very well-structured companies, and if you combine this, that's like dangerous weapon. So that was on the professional side, and on the personal side, like one of the funniest and strongest meaning for me was like winning $70 in 45 minutes in Las Vegas. So that was cool as well.
Okay. Maybe you stole my idea about the nice people, because it's like my experience. Everybody in the United States is nice. I didn't met anybody who want to like harm me or stolen something or some. I don't know if it's cashier or a policeman. Even a policeman is holding a gun.
When talking to
And talking to me, it's like strange, but she was very nice to me and just asking if I wanna kill her. And I mean, like, even like homeless people are like nice, they are smiling and they are like wish you happy day and happy holiday and whatever.
Well, it was interesting when you spent the night in the park down in Santa Cruz and in your tent, and you said the police officer came by and he saw you there early in the park where I guess you weren't supposed to be sleeping, but it was so early he didn't want to wake you up. Yeah. So he let you sleep in? And that, is that right? And then he came back to you later on?
So we were supposed to get we were camping near Santa Cruz, which is illegal.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, the policeman was walking around our tent. Then like when it was like 10 a.m. he said like, "Hey guys, wake up, sorry to bother you, but I just want to say you are illegal here, you should get a couple $100 as a fine."
Wow.
But,
my shift is over, so
yeah,
I can go.
do you have car here or do you want me to drive you somewhere?
You were supposed to have a permit or something? Or is it not allowed?
It's illegal.
Oh, it's illegal. Okay.
Design place for camping.
But you can sleep in the car on the parking lot.
Oh, okay.
Good to know.
What was the biggest challenge that you had over the last couple of months here?
I think for me it was the biggest challenge. Like I live with 5 people in one house, working hard, 24/7, 23/7, and like it was a bit challenging, but I think we like done it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
I would have to agree to that. The amount of work, it was a lot, but over the time it just became, you can get adjusted to it. But I think that was the challenge at the beginning for all of us to. And then on the other hand, I'm very surprised that we still live. We haven't killed each other.
Together.
And actually, we met another startups here who have the same experience. That they share a giant house, and they live there together, and they also work together. And it's not something unusual here. So I would just have to say that.
Totally agree with workload. It was quite huge. And also I would say this like time pressure, because you came for 3 months, and the first week is like, hey, San Francisco, I want to go out, I want to have, I don't know, like, nice lunch and countryside. So just first 2 weeks are gone so quickly. Last 2 weeks were like you do all like last minute tasks. You want to do some shopping, maybe you want to say goodbye to your friends. So we cut 1 month. Then you have like 2 months when you could be, and still it's very hard to be like totally focused on your work. And if you try to reach out somebody, the more important the person is, the less opportunities to meet him or her you have. So you meet someone on your like second part of your stay here, and then you want to schedule a meeting. This day will be just follow-up meeting. Hey, how are you? How's your family? Then you want to talk about business. The second, third meeting, and you realize I'm leaving in 1 month. So it's like time pressure, and we have to, okay, we need to do such amount of work, and we have like 3 weeks, and you have to combine everything together. We have this svhouse.tv when we had to be flexible for the interviews. Then we had Corin/Lifeline when you have to like repeatedly do your work. So for me it was craziness, like quite a lot of work. But if I had like at least like some hours I can devote to this specific task, it would be much easier for me, because I was in a stage when I was thinking, my left head was thinking about svhouse, my right head was thinking about Corin, and somewhere behind I was thinking about some future strategy for Lifeline, for example. So I feel like I'm on 3 different places. I can't really focus on one thing. So that was pretty challenging for me.
Sure. And what was the biggest surprise, like just real quickly, of either what you expected about Silicon Valley or expected about what the culture was like here, or in any way, what was the biggest surprise for you personally or professionally about being here for a couple months?
For me, Silicon Valley is actually small. So I said it like last time during my weekly review, but I think it's good to repeat it. You think that 80%, I learned yesterday that 80% of all the IPOs are companies from Silicon Valley. Then if you are here, you realize you can drive from San Francisco to San Jose, where Silicon Valley is somehow in between, in 45 minutes, but there is no traffic. So it was like, it's a small place, you read a lot about it, but then you realize, okay, so here's the Twitter building, and there is the Facebook building, and everything is quite close, and you meet people in pubs and meetups. So surprisingly, it's small, and it's so reachable. You can talk to people, you can make nice connections. So that was a huge surprise for me. And yeah, like as I said, everybody is nice here, likes to talk to you. You don't care if you talk to chef or investor, because everybody can give you advice, either for user testing or for investment. Everybody is just friendly, and that's big difference to what I experienced back in Europe.
And if you then think about, say, the biggest piece of advice that you could give someone who's on a startup team outside of Silicon Valley, whether they're in another part of America or any other part around the world, based on your experience the last couple months and kind of what you've learned, what's one piece of advice you would give?
Yeah, for sure. It's don't waste your time. There is short time for doing anything, and the people who wanna meet you, they are also busy, and don't waste their time and your time.
I would say don't think about, don't be bothered by the thought that someone doesn't want to talk to you. They want to talk to you, and they are very helpful and friendly. Everybody is. I have not come across somebody else during my 3 months. So I would just encourage people to come forward with a laptop in a hand and put your product into the face of someone maybe you think is very has a high position. Doesn't really matter. They are all people and friendly. So.
Yeah, the same. It doesn't matter who you are. What matters here is what you offer to other people. So if you have a good product, if you have even good idea or good skills, but you don't have the best crews in the world, like 20 years of experience in Apple, you are still appreciated and you will be appreciated. So be who you are and like offer what you know best. Be honest with people. So that's on one hand, but don't be like too pushy. Like people come here, they have this 1 month, and they approach somebody, and as people are nice here, they listen to you, but they pitch the person for 10 minutes. Then you can see the person on the phone and talking to other people, but this person is still pitching the investor. So like be empathetic. People are not assholes here, so they won't tell you, I don't care about your idea, but try to read also the other person if she's
I would strongly suggest not to start pitching if you meet someone.
Yeah.
If somebody asks you what do you do, just make a joke and be friendly. And as the conversation will maybe move forward to like, you can slowly start putting some more thoughts about what you do, but just don't pitch because that's really annoying. To listen to 20 pitches a day, and it's like a long talks. It's like not a conversation, and it's really hard for the other person to just escape it, and it's like it's.
One advice, like many companies come here to for fundraising or like piloting the product or opening up new market. So if you open up the new market, you have to be really prepared for the US. You can spend half a year before your arrival analyzing the market, searching for the companies you'd like to talk to, etc., etc. So if you like open a new market, be prepared many months in advance. If you look for fundraising, then you probably don't need to do that much of preparations, but you have to be clever once you are here. So as Danko said, don't start pitching. Like, approach the investor, say hi. Maybe I would like to talk to you next week or next month. Is there any possibility you would talk to me? I have startup in healthcare. You are investing in healthcare companies. Once you make this first impression, start a joke, say what's your passion maybe. You can get well with the investor, whoever. And then just develop the relationship step by step. And then there was the third reason I was saying why to come to Silicon Valley. That was like pilot your product. So then you can do preparation as well in advance, but get in touch with some locals. Try to talk to like local families. We did many user testing, so you need to find some connection, somebody who is living here who can help you to reach out to people.
Yeah, and you said a number of really important things that I just like to highlight is, first of all, so Matoshi, you were talking about, you and Daniel talking about, for some startup teams in another part of the country or another part of the world, it may not be a good idea for them to come immediately to Silicon Valley, right? Or maybe not at all. And this is, we all have met teams here where they just came here almost automatically thinking it was just automatically the right thing to do. But sometimes it's not, right? So that people have to have very specific reasons, very specific goals for coming here, number one. Number two, if they're talking about, if they're coming here to try and raise funding, they need to think through strategically if this is the best place for them to raise money. If they've built their business in another country, right? And then if they make that decision that yes it is, then they need to really spend months building up a plan of who do they want to meet here when they arrive, so that they can put those meetings into place in advance as much as possible. I think, go ahead.
I wanted to say that there's also like a very big value in asking the investors, probably from your field, for an advice. It could be more helpful than $1 million in funding.
Yeah.
these people, they know the market, they work with it for many years. So a good conversation point is, do you have any advice for me? Can you please share your knowledge? What do you think? Not approach them with like, I want 1 million, or I don't know, whatever amount of money
Yeah.
I need right now.
Yeah.
It's just, it's much, that's a huge outcome you can get from Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
Even if you don't want Silicon Valley money in your pocket, you might want to fundraise elsewhere. This could be also helpful.
Sure.
Yeah, and like put these people on board maybe first. Put there one investor, put there somebody from Google, and then you increase your credibility, and then you get like 10 times more money in next 6 months maybe. So this advice, creating the network and bringing to the company people who have some added value, I think this is the key thing, even for fundraising. Or you just have like some super clever idea and you don't need this, but in 95% I would say this would be like super helpful.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, and I think also Jakob said something earlier too, which is, most people here are friendly, and
For sure.
and as an American, I'm very happy and proud to hear that. Of course, there are some small percentage that aren't, but most people are just friendly. They just want to help if they can. And I think what I've seen from a lot of startup teams that come from outside of America to Silicon Valley, there quite often people will think like, okay, I need to, from day one, I have to prove myself to the people in Silicon Valley, to the Americans, or to the foreigners, or all the people that are now, they moved here from another country and they've been here for years, and so we consider them Americans, and so, we love adopting people quickly, and so. For example, but when people first arrive here, they're like, oh, I need to prove myself because I'm being judged by everyone in every meeting. And that's normally not the case with Americans. Where it's not like, we're all sitting back like, okay, let's evaluate this new, Matosh or Jakob or Danko or Martin before, the people aren't sitting here judging that person who just arrived. It's more like it's a team. We're a team, and join the team, and let's play football or soccer for a little bit, and let's see if there's a way that we can play together. And if we can, great. Then let's do that. And we'll continue as the same team. And if not, then just shake hands and go away.
Yeah,
Right?
I think it's like you come here, you get known the rules, and then you score. Yeah, it's like about it. Nobody's like judging you.
I think that's very well said. I think that's right. Well, great. Anything else before we close?
Maybe like getting back to our previous discussion. I like what you said, that not always is the US the market you want to be at, and Silicon Valley the place you want to open your office. And if everywhere in the world you have the same prices, you could hire people for the same salary, then definitely Silicon Valley would be the place to be in all the cases, no matter what you are doing. But as the rent is so expensive here, as even the BART and the public transportation is expensive here, you probably need to have car here if you want to be more flexible and have better time management. If you fly from Europe, like expensive flying tickets, it's hard to get visa. So there are like so much cost and so much like hard things that are complicating your stay here. So you open your office here and you are dealing with visa issues like 40% of your time instead of focusing on product maybe. So I want to say that this is for me, this was for our company, this is really the place to be, and I think we made good and wise decision, even though it was quite expensive for the whole company, comparing with our expensive in the Czech Republic. But not everybody, not all the companies are in the same shoes. Maybe you can do much more money business in Africa or in Czech Republic. Even though the market is smaller, but you don't have that fierce competition, you can be much more cost effective. And maybe if you build empire in Africa, then you can start considering the US. But like starting building an empire in the US, the success rate is like almost a couple percent. So make good decision and specify your goals, and then just specify your goals maybe for more places, and they decide based on some criteria, because not always this might be the fortunate place for you. Even without the US, as we know, like other cities have some like different strong parts. Maybe healthcare is in Kansas City, I do believe. Boston can afford something very specific, so maybe even analyze within the US if you want to go from the US market.
Yeah, and I think that's a really important point because again, so many startup teams think like that this is the one place they must come if they're in another part of the country or another part of the world. And if they have very specific reasons about expanding into the U.S. market and building their business here, and then tapping into the capital, raising capital here in Silicon Valley, and a lot of other strong reasons, it can be the best idea in the world. But it can also be a great idea to just stay in your home country and build your business there and not come here. So Daniel and I spoke to the founder of an ed tech company yesterday, who was describing to us, he spends a lot of time in Bangalore. And so he splits his time between India and America. And he said that the Bangalore startup scene right now is incredibly vibrant, really strong, continuing to rapidly grow, and that there are a lot of great startups that are coming out of Bangalore, right? So if you're an Indian tech startup, your best option may be to start in Bangalore or another part of India and to stay there, right? Build a massively successful company in India and only expand outside of India once you really have capitalized on all that market has to offer and then expand. So that may be the best option, right? So it's that's an important point. If you're going to come here, be sure you're coming here for very specific reasons. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you for great questions.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for watching.
Okay.
Oh,